The Los Angeles Lakers are entering one of the most consequential off-seasons in recent memory, and the first major item on the agenda is abundantly clear: re-signing Austin Reaves. The 28-year-old guard delivered the best season of his professional career in 2025-26, cementing himself as one of the most valuable and consistent players on the entire roster. But as the franchise turns its attention to summer, real questions are surfacing about whether they can get a deal done, and what factor will ultimately tip the scales in their favor. Hey, what's up, everyone? Before we jump into everything today, that like button right there is what decides if this video hits hundreds or thousands of people. 1 second is all it takes, but the impact on this channel is massive. Go ahead and hit that like button right now. Seriously, it's the simplest thing you can do, and honestly, the best way to back this content up, because every single like pushes us further. So hit it now. Reaves currently hold a player option worth $14.1 million for the 2026-27 season. All indications suggest he will opt out and test the open market, which would force the Lakers to compete for his services in a genuinely competitive free agency environment. The mutual interest is real. Both sides want to reach an agreement, but the financial expectations are substantial, and rival teams have already begun positioning themselves for a run at one of the league's most coveted guards. According to reporting by Dan Woik and Sam Amick of The Athletic, rival executives around the league believe Reaves could command as much as $40 million per season on a new long-term contract. The reasoning behind that projection is straightforward: his production, his age, and the reality that no other free agent in this particular class comes close to matching what he offers at this stage of his career. That combination gives him enormous leverage heading into what could be a defining summer for both player and franchise. The 2025-26 campaign was the best of Reaves' career across every meaningful statistical category. He averaged 23.3 points per game, a career high, along with 5.5 assists, 4.7 rebounds, and 1.1 steals. He also shot 49% from the floor, another personal best, while connecting on 36% of his three-point attempts. Those numbers placed him firmly among the elite guards in the Western Conference, and made him one of the most reliable offensive weapons on a Lakers squad built around Luka Doncic. At present, the Chicago Bulls and Brooklyn Nets are the teams with the salary cap flexibility to meet that $40 million annual price tag without major roster restructuring. The Utah Jazz and Atlanta Hawks have also been identified as teams with genuine interest in bringing him aboard, though both franchises would need to execute significant roster moves to create the necessary financial space. For credible suitors is not a small number, and the Lakers are fully aware of what each one represents as a competitive threat. Despite that external interest, there are compelling reasons to believe Reaves will ultimately choose to remain in Los Angeles. The most powerful of those reasons is his relationship and on-court chemistry with Luka Doncic. The two guards formed one of the most dynamic backcourt partnerships in the Western Conference during the 2025-26 season, and Doncic has been clear about his desire to continue playing alongside Reaves for the foreseeable future. That dynamic matters enormously in today's NBA, where stars have increasing influence over roster construction. The Lakers also have tools beyond money to make their situation attractive. Head coach J.J. Redick runs a system that maximizes Reaves' skills, and the front office has signaled a clear intention to add meaningful talent around the core this summer. If the organization can demonstrate a credible and legitimate path to championship contention, that competitive environment could prove more persuasive than any purely financial offer from a rebuilding team. Winning, according to league sources cited by Woik and Amick, will be a significant factor in Reaves' decision-making process. He is not simply chasing the largest available paycheck. He wants to compete for championships, and Los Angeles, with Doncic leading the way in a front office with real resources, represents one of the strongest opportunities in the league to do exactly that in the years ahead. Reaves has until June 29th to formally notify the Lakers of his decision regarding the player option. If he opts out as expected, negotiations will begin in earnest immediately afterward. The Lakers will almost certainly make a maximum-level offer, relying on the established relationship, the well-suited system, and the genuine prospect of a championship window to close the deal before another franchise can make a compelling competing offer. The off-season is just getting started, and the Reaves situation will be among the defining storylines of the summer. How it resolves will carry enormous implications, not just for the guard himself, but for the entire direction and competitive trajectory of the franchise. The financial landscape of the NBA in 2026 makes this negotiation particularly complex. The salary cap has risen significantly in recent years, and teams across the league have accumulated large war chests to pursue premium free agents. Reeves fits the profile of a player every contending team wants. A versatile two-way guard who can create his own shot, facilitate for others, defend multiple positions, and perform in high-pressure playoff moments. His value extends well beyond any single statistical line. What makes the Lakers' position uniquely challenging is that they must simultaneously pursue Reeves while managing other critical roster decisions this summer. The front office has multiple priorities competing for the same financial resources, and how they navigate that balancing act will determine the shape of the team Luka Doncic leads into the 2026-27 season. LeBron James just completed his 8th season with the Los Angeles Lakers, and at 41 years old, he showed the basketball world he still has plenty left to offer. Now a free agent for summer, his phone is already ringing, and according to one of the league's most plugged-in reporters, every contender in the NBA has placed a call to his camp since the moment the season ended. ESPN senior NBA insider Shams Charania appeared on the Pat McAfee show on May 18th and delivered the most significant update yet on LeBron's offseason status. Charania spoke directly with Rich Paul, LeBron's agent, at the NBA Draft Combine in Chicago the previous week, and the message was unambiguous. I do know a lot of teams are calling LeBron James in his camp. Charania said on the broadcast, I spoke to Rich Paul the other day at the Chicago Draft Combine last week, and he told me every contender in the NBA, essentially, since the season ended, has placed a call. Charania also addressed the bigger question, whether James actually intends to play another season. The answer, based on everything he is hearing, is yes. The question is simply where. The expectation is that he is going to play another season, and we will see if it is going to be with the Lakers. He said on the show, James is not just keeping himself relevant as a legacy talking point. He proved during the 2025-26 season that his contributions are very much real and current. During the regular season, he appeared in 60 games and averaged 20.9 points, 7.2 assists, 6.1 rebounds, and 1.2 steals while shooting 51.5% from the field. He was the third scoring option behind Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, and that arrangement worked smoothly while those two were healthy. Everything changed when both Doncic and Reeves went down with injuries before the postseason began. LeBron stepped into a dramatically larger role and delivered. He averaged 23.2 points, 7.3 assists, and 6.7 rebounds across 10 playoff games, carrying the Lakers past the Houston Rockets in 6 games in the first round before the team fell to the Oklahoma City Thunder in the second round. For a player entering his age 41 season, having been characterized as a third option, those numbers were a powerful statement about his continued relevance. But the situation heading into free agency is complicated by what has happened off the court. After James broke the NBA record for most combined wins in league history, General Manager Rob Pelinka walked into the locker room with the commemorative game ball and handed it to head coach J.J. Redick to celebrate his 100th coaching victory instead. Sources reported to ESPN that James took the gesture as another example of the organization failing to properly acknowledge his contributions and accomplishments. That incident adds a layer of genuine uncertainty to what might otherwise have been a straightforward renewal. James is not simply evaluating contract offers. He is evaluating whether the Lakers franchise still makes him feel valued, respected, and positioned to pursue what he cares about most at this point in his storied career. Charania acknowledged that James will need real time to work through his decision. Honestly, I think LeBron, more than past years, probably needs even more time with his family, with his inner circle. He noted on the broadcast, indicating that a decision is not imminent and that rushing the process would not be in keeping with how James approaches major life choices. The Lakers know they are facing real competition. Rich Paul confirmed that every contender is called, and those are not courtesy inquiries. Teams see James as a meaningful piece that could contribute to a title run, and at 41 with those statistics, it is difficult to argue otherwise. Los Angeles has clear advantages in any effort to retain James. His son, Bronny James, plays for the Lakers organization. His roots in business empire are deeply embedded in Los Angeles, and his on-court relationship with Luka Doncic adds genuine basketball incentive to remain. The supporting cast around Doncic, combined with J.J. Redick's coaching system, gives LeBron a realistic path to championship competition. The coming weeks will be critical. The LeBron James free agency situation will remain the most closely watched storyline of the summer until a resolution is reached. The stakes of the Lakers front office could not be higher. Losing LeBron James to another franchise would send a significant message to the rest of the league, not only about the organization's ability to retain superstar talent, but about what the future looks like alongside Luka Doncic. James serves as an invaluable bridge between the superstar present and the broader narrative the Lakers are trying to build around their franchise player. There's also a practical basketball dimension that cannot be ignored. LeBron James at 41 is still a plus player on a championship caliber team. His court vision, his leadership in the locker room, his ability to elevate teammates, and his experience navigating high-pressure playoff situations are qualities that simply cannot be replaced through a standard free agency acquisition. Any team that lands him will gain not just a player, but an institutional competitive advantage. Rob Pelinka and the front office will need to act with urgency, while also addressing the concerns James has reportedly harbored. The game ball incident may seem minor in isolation, but patterns of perceived disrespect have historically shaped where elite players choose to spend the final chapters of their careers. The Lakers have both to offer and both to repair. While the biggest names in the Lakers' off-season conversation dominate the headlines, there's another free agency decision that deserves attention, one that could quietly shape the team's depth and front-court identity heading into the 2026-27 season. Center Jackson Hayes made his feelings public following the team's playoff elimination, stating plainly that he wants to come back. Hayes, who served as the backup center behind starter DeAndre Ayton throughout the 2025-26 season, spoke to reporters after the Lakers were eliminated by the Oklahoma City Thunder in the second round of the playoffs. His message was direct and emotionally genuine. Yeah, of course. I love this group of guys. I love this staff. I love this organization as a whole. Hayes said, I grew up watching Kobe, and I just love to be a Laker. I wear Cobes every day. I'd love to stay here, obviously. I hope so. For a player heading into free agency for the third consecutive summer, Hayes displayed a calm and grounded approach to what had become a familiar part of his professional life. He acknowledged the process openly while emphasizing that his focus remains on improving his own game regardless of where he ends up. To be fair, I've been a free agent the past 2 summers, Hayes said. So, just going to do it the same way, making sure I get better this summer every day and work on parts of my game. Just try to be ready for next year. That kind of mentality matters. Hayes, at 26 years old, is still developing as a professional, and his 2025-26 campaign offered encouraging signs of real growth. He delivered standout energy throughout the season, combining his natural athleticism with improved positioning and finishing around the rim. His thunderous dunks became one of the more electric moments in the Lakers' offensive flow, and in the playoffs he had individual moments that showed his ceiling remained significant. One of the more notable aspects of Hayes' season was how naturally he fit alongside Luka Doncic. The two developed a functional on-court connection in a relatively short period, with Hayes' ability to finish above the rim complementing Doncic's elite passing and playmaking. Sources indicate the Lakers recognize this chemistry as a genuine asset worth preserving heading into next season. Perhaps the most striking development in the Hayes story this offseason happened away from basketball entirely. Hayes reportedly obtained a Slovenian passport specifically to play alongside Doncic in FIBA international competition this summer, a gesture that speaks volumes about how strongly he values that relationship. However, Doncic subsequently announced that he would not be representing Slovenia in the FIBA World Cup qualifiers due to an ongoing personal custody situation involving his 2 daughters, leaving those plans in limbo. Head coach J.J. Redick's challenges with his front court rotation were visible throughout the postseason. Hayes, despite his energy and athleticism, struggled at times when matched up against physical and powerful interior players in the Thunder series. Redick frequently found himself searching for reliable center minutes, and the Lakers' interior defense was an area that came under scrutiny as the playoff run ended. That reality is likely to drive the front office to pursue a significant upgrade at starting center this summer. The Lakers want a legitimate rim protector, a defensive anchor who can protect the paint, switch on perimeter, and provide consistent physicality against the league's best big men. Neither Hayes nor Ayton fully fits that profile, and the Lakers know it. The practical implication for Hayes is that even if he returns, he should expect to continue in a backup role. His value to the team is real, but it exists in a specific context. An athletic, high-energy reserve who can finish on the pick and roll with Doncic, contribute in the open court, and provide a change of pace against certain matchups. Whether the Lakers ultimately bring Hayes back would depend on how their cap situation develops over the summer. The franchise faces several high-priority financial commitments, including the looming Austin Reeves extension, and the backup center position may not receive significant resources until the major decisions are settled. Hayes seems to understand this reality, and his patience and professionalism heading into another free agency summer reflect the maturity he has developed during his time in Los Angeles. The broader Lakers roster picture makes Hayes a more valuable piece than his backup label might suggest. In a league where reliable depth at center is increasingly difficult to find at reasonable cost, a young, athletic, and genuinely enthusiastic reserve who already knows the system and the personnel is worth more than the open market often reflects. If the Lakers can secure his return on a team-friendly deal, it represents genuine value in a high-stakes free agency environment. Hayes has grown considerably since his early years in the league. When he arrived in Los Angeles, he was a raw prospect with obvious tools but limited polish. He leaves this season having contributed in meaningful playoff minutes and having built relationships that clearly extend beyond basketball. His desire to play with Doncic in international competition is not a calculated public relations gesture. It reflects how connected he has become to the people and the culture within the organization. Whether Hayes returns depends on what cap flexibility remains after top priorities are settled. But Hayes has made his position clear. He wants to stay and plans to earn it this summer.